Here's what we're talking about today in our lineup here on The Now. For millions of people, the closest hospital is hours away by ambulance. We're going to tell you why a new law could make those hospitals even less accessible for those in rural areas. Plus, there are more women driving than men, but female drivers are less safe. What we're learning of what can be done to better protect ladies behind the wheel. And some of your guilty pleasures in the vending machine could be going away. The new types of foods that you're going to see.
Thank you, Chris, and thanks for joining us on The Now, Indy. I'm Amanda Starantino. Tonight, investigators in Columbus are looking into the cause of this blaze that destroyed a family's home early this morning. When firefighters arrived, they discovered an RV camper parked next to a home fully engulfed in flames. The fire had spread to that two-story home. This happened in the 3800 block of Greenbrier Drive just before 1 a.m. Everyone inside got out safely. The homeowner told investigators he heard a popping sound, discovered flames coming from under the camper. He tried to put it out with a fire extinguisher, but the fire continued to grow. He said he was charging components of the trailer with an extension cord from the home. Investigators have not been able to determine a cause as of yet. Damage is estimated at $250,000. Do you have any unused or old prescription medications and that you would like to get rid of and do it safely? Then you'll want to take advantage of a National Drug Take Back Day tomorrow. Several locations across Indiana will be participating, including multiple fire and police departments. And for the first time this year, you can drop off vaping devices and cartridges. Accidental exposure to medicine is a major source of unintentional poisoning in kids. Each year, poison centers receive around 450,000 calls because of accidental exposure. So this is an easy way to make sure that doesn't happen.
Nobody's asked any questions about the particular kind of drugs that they're disposing of, or we just ask that you bring it in a, in a bag or a container, and then we'll put it in the containers provided by the DEA for us.
These drug take-back events happen twice a year. Back in April, Indiana State Police reported nearly 23,000 pounds of unused medication was collected in the state. And for a list of locations taking part in Drug Take-Back Day, look for this story on the IndyChannel.com. Kyle, some cloudy skies out there, gray skies.
Yeah, we've had some cloudy conditions throughout our Friday here, but eventually those clouds are going to be leading us into some rain. A little bit of a damp start to the weekend. We're dry out there right now, and those temperatures have been locked into the 50s again with quite a bit of cloud cover. It's a little below average for this time of year at 62. There's that record in the lower 80s. Right now, temperatures all across central Indiana running in the 50s. You got Connorsville, though, at a mild 60-degree reading, 54 in Lafayette. So there's the cloud shield. We look south of the Ohio River, and you can see this band of rain that's continuing to try and spread our way. Still dealing with a little bit of dry air, so it's not really making it very far north from the Ohio River. That will start to change, but you're not going to need that umbrella if you're heading out to the Fuel game this evening. We'll have mostly cloudy skies, fairly light northeast wind, and those temperatures that will continue to fall back through the 50s, right to 50 degrees here as we get to 11 o'clock tonight. So there are the dry conditions tonight, but look at how quickly those rain chances are going to ramp up and stay with us on Saturday before they start to come back down going into the second half of our weekend, and quite a bit of rain is going to come our way. 1 to possibly 2 inches. Could see some areas with a little more than that. Turns breezy as well.
Let's start the Now News feed. The Secretary of Defense says the U.S. will leave more troops in Syria. Their mission will be to protect oil fields because ISIS may target them. This is somewhat a reversal of a planned quick withdrawal from the region. Boeing promising it will change the 737 MAX software. Indonesia just released its report on the Lion Air crash that happened last year. The report blaming the MAX's poor design as well as oversight from the FAA. That crash killed 189 people. Actress Felicity Huffman, now an ex-con. She was released from federal prison. She served less than 2 weeks for her role in the college admissions scandal. She was originally sentenced to 14 days, but she was let out early, which is standard practice for inmates who are set to be released on weekends. Congressman and civil rights leader Elijah Cummings being remembered as a fierce champion of truth, justice, and kindness. Former presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, along with former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, were among those who spoke at his funeral today in Baltimore. Cummings dying last week at the age of 68. Now, former President Jimmy Carter is home again after a second fall this month. The latest causing him to fracture his pelvis. Both accidents happened at home, and falls are the #1 thing that sends older Americans to the ER. Now, aging, obviously a risk factor with these, as well as cluttered or dark living areas, but there are some fall risks that aren't so obvious. Older people get dehydrated, they become dizzy or faint, and medications interacting with each other can also lead to falls. Now, research found that antidepressants had the strongest association with increasing falls among the elderly. Some anti-inflammatory blood pressure drugs as well, and benzodiazepines, well, they're another common medication older people take for sleeping disorders. Now, Visiting Angels is an in-home elderly care service. They do home safety assessments, and they have a nationwide program called Safe and Steady to help families understand what they can do to prevent falls. Visiting Angels saying that most happen in the bathroom.
So it's making sure that there is, again, the floor surfaces are not slippery, mats are firm to the floor, grab bars are in the shower adjacent to the toilet, and that there's no sharp corners or surfaces, for example, with vanities.
Now, Scott Holmes says one of the best things is for seniors to remain active to improve their balance. All right, let's get back to our lineup. And crash test dummies are important to make sure that our cars are safe, but we are learning they may not be doing the best job protecting women.
Jeep Adventure Days.
Welcome back to the Now Indy on RTV6. Taking a live look outside right now from our IMS Pagoda Cam, looking downtown. Look at all those beautiful fall colors on all those trees while seeing our downtown skyline. It's shaping up to be a soggy weekend. We'll have Kyle with the forecast coming up on the Now Indy. Tomorrow, the Navy's newest combat ship will be put into service, and it will proudly bear the name USS Indianapolis. This will be the fourth Navy vessel to have that name. The second one is best known. It was sunk by a Japanese submarine in 1945 while returning from a Pacific island where it delivered key components for the atomic bomb. Only 317 of its nearly 1,200 crew survived the sinking and days in shark-infested waters. The new USS Indianapolis is a ship that 1945 crew could have never imagined.
We have 4 tunnels underneath the ship that draw water up and shoot them out the back of the ship. So it's very much like a jet ski, and it's extremely maneuverable. We're able to support ourselves for 10 days underway before needing to restock our food stores as well as our fuel stores. We can carry around 100,000 gallons of fuel.
The commissioning ceremony will take place tomorrow morning in Burns Harbor in northwest Indiana. The ship will be stationed at Mayport Naval Station near Jacksonville, Florida. Chris?
Auto safety experts are calling out the U.S. crash test rating system, saying it is old and outdated. Annie Taylor with why this is a huge safety risk for one group in particular.
Chris, women are 73% more likely to be seriously injured in a car crash, even with a seatbelt on, and 17% more likely to be killed. Consumer Reports showing us where women are more likely to be injured than men in a car crash. The director of Consumer Reports Auto Test Center told us that's partially because women aren't accurately represented in crash testing, if at all.
And what they're finding is that women are not just scaled down versions of men. Actually, the materials, our bones, our tissues behave differently than men. So the dummies that have been created have only been representing males.
There is one female crash test dummy. She's just a smaller version of the male and only represents about 5% of women. And the female dummy is rarely used as the driver in crash tests. And that's more of a problem now than ever since women outnumber men behind the wheel.
We're finding ourselves in kind of a reactive posture in that we could have been proactive. When society started to change, women started to drive a lot more. Women entered the workforce. We should have been right there saying, hey, we should be putting that female dummy in the driver's seat as often as the male dummy.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration just promised to update crash testing next year, and it includes better dummies.
All right, Andy, thank you. And 2 senators are proposing a bill that would bring emergency alerts to streaming services like Netflix. Now, they would be the same alerts that you see on TV and radio right now. Users would not be able to opt out of those alerts. All right, ahead of our lineup, for millions of people, the closest hospital is hours away by ambulance, and helicopters can cut that time way down.
As muscle time is brain cells, and that's the biggest advantage to this.
Why that life-saving option may be getting less accessible. Working for you. If If you live in a city, you may take it for granted that hospitals are nearby, ready to treat you at a moment's notice. But for millions of Americans, the closest hospital is hours away by ambulance. Helicopters can cut down response times to 30 minutes. But as Maya Rodriguez shows us, a push for a new law could put choppers out of reach for many small towns across the country.
For Teresa Kamek,
just to make it look a little better,
gardening is a lifelong passion.
You know, even pulling weeds. You know, never thought that it would just be so incredible to be able to do that.
Incredible, because just 1 year ago, Teresa had a massive stroke.
It was absolutely terrifying. You know, I could just feel the weakness, honestly, I could just feel life just kind of leaving my body.
Her sister found her lying on the bathroom floor in her home in Soperton, Georgia. Population about 2,900. The closest major hospital here about an hour and a half away. With time critical to Teresa's survival, local paramedics called for this: an air ambulance.
It's all a matter of saving time.
Time that can be the difference between life and death for accident victims and heart attack and stroke patients.
Time is muscle, time is brain cells, and that's the biggest advantage to this.
But a proposed bill now in the U.S. Senate could place restrictions on how much air ambulance companies can charge. The Lower Healthcare Costs Act calls for ending surprise air ambulance bills, which can range between $10,000 to $40,000 and are not usually fully covered by insurance. Lower bills might sound great, but air ambulance companies say the bill would force them to charge only a median rate, which they argue is too low and would put them out of business.
The current Senate help language would cause a number of air medical bases to close, and people that live in those rural areas of the United States would lose access to health care.
Already this year, 38 air medical bases have closed because of too few patients and high operating costs. And they're not the only ones under financial pressure. So are rural hospitals.
There used to be a hospital in town. Teresa was born in it, but it closed years ago. Hospital closures are increasingly becoming a problem in rural communities across the country.
So many people, especially in bigger cities, take for granted, hey, there's a hospital that can treat me 5 minutes from where this wreck was at. And that's what this is for these areas. It's invaluable.
Good luck. You would likely to pay a very high price for this trip.
Johns Hopkins Carey Business School professor Ji Bai is a health policy expert and helped write the proposed bill.
I think this air ambulance issue is a poster child of surprise medical billing.
Bai says patients often have no choice when it comes to using an air ambulance. And since many insurance companies don't pay, patients get stuck with huge bills.
These are perfect ingredients to make the patients the most delicious prey.
But Air Medical Services say the better solution would be to have them deal with insurance companies directly and take patients out of the middle. Back in Georgia, Teresa Kamek says she's just grateful she got help for her stroke in time and says everyone should hope to be as lucky.
You know, you just don't ever think it could happen to you.
In Soperton, Georgia.
But it can.
I'm Maya Rodriguez reporting.
Maya, thank you. Now, if you ever need an air ambulance, experts say you should try to negotiate with the company to see if you can get a discount on the bill.
He's made Little Pink Houses famous in song. Now the image of John Mellencamp will likely make a building in his hometown of Seymour a must-see place for fans. A mural depicting the Hoosier rock and roll legend is nearing completion. An Indianapolis artist is painting it on the side of this old guitar music store on 2nd Street in Seymour. Store owner Larry McDonald is a high school classmate of Mellencamp. He says he's worked since 2014 to honor Mellencamp's success and make the mural a reality. The artist says it's been an honor for her.
As a young adult, I listened to his music. I kind of grew up with his music, and so I've been singing all the music and listening to it while I'm painting the mural. It's quite an honor. I feel very privileged to be able to do this.
The mural is expected to be completed next month. Sometimes laughter is the best medicine, and none other than actor and comedian Martin Short will be coming to Indianapolis to star in the annual comedy fundraiser for an Indiana charity. Short will be the headliner for Cancer Support Community Central Indiana's event called Laughing Matters. It will celebrate its 20th year next year. The show will be April 25th at Old National Center. Tickets for the show go on sale 1 week from today. We have all the information on tickets at theindychannel.com. Kyle.
All right, making those weekend plans, you might need to make some adjustments in those. We're going to take you through the weekend forecast right now. Yeah, the clouds continue to move through, trying to get a little bit of sunshine in the sky out there, but we do have some bright color there as we check out the leaf camera in Brown County. 56 degrees right now in downtown. You're at 55 in Greenwood and Muncie at 57 tonight. Our temperatures dropping back into the middle 40s, and I think for most of the night we are going to keep it dry with those clouds in place. Temperature-wise, as we go into our Saturday afternoon, upper 50s to lower and middle 60s, and I will say that this will be a late day high temperature that will get into the 60s. We'll spend much of our Saturday in the 50s with lots of clouds and lots of rain around. So here's TrueCast. By 5:30 in the morning, start to see some of that light rain moving in around Bloomington, Bedford, Seymour, even around Columbus and Nashville. That continues to stream north. By mid-morning, most locations south of Lafayette to Kokomo will be dealing with that rain, and we could see some pockets of steady rain, possibly a rumble of thunder here. Not anticipating any strong or severe storms, but it is going to be a breezy day with that rain as it moves through. And even by 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, we're talking about rain. So it's not very often that we have these days that are kind of washouts. It looks like tomorrow, though, is going to be that kind of a day as we go into the evening hours. Then we start to scour out that rain just a little bit here, but not before getting around 1 to possibly 3 inches of rainfall. That certainly is going to help out the deficit, though, that we've been digging over the last month to month and a half. There's a look at that wind gust forecast as we get into tomorrow evening and the overnight. Some of those gusts topping 30 miles per hour. Sunday looking a whole lot better. We'll dry things out. 62 will be the temperature there. 65 on Monday before we cool it down a little bit on Tuesday. And looking ahead here to Halloween on Thursday, 48. Chance for some rain and snow showers. Chris?
At least 11 million people in the United States have had their driver's licenses taken away because of unpaid fines, which can take a major toll on families. Some fines are for small issues like having a taillight out, not fully stopping at a stop sign, or not having car insurance. Now, while they may not be criminal offenses, the cost associated with these tickets can be quite expensive. We are talking $200 or more. And if that ticket isn't paid on time or the driver doesn't show up in court, their license may be taken away immediately. Now, for low-income families, paying a fine like this can be a huge problem.
We know people lose their jobs. They are not able to get new jobs. They reduce the amount of both income they're able to take in and the type and quality of jobs that they're able to gain access to. And we know that people are still driving, because what other choice do you have, especially in places where you don't have access to public transportation?
Drivers are also putting themselves at risk of getting arrested by getting behind the wheel without a license. That's why the Free to Drive campaign is trying to get 44 states to get rid of these policies. A number of states have already started changing their policies. Let's start the Now News feed, and you will not find 22-ounce bottles of Johnson & Johnson baby powder at several pharmacies. CVS, Rite Aid, and Walmart have stopped selling them. It's tied to the company's recall of 33,000 bottles after small amounts of asbestos were found in one bottle. Subaru is recalling more than 400,000 vehicles. Imprezas from 2017 to 2019 and 2018 to 2019 Crosstracks are part of this recall. Subaru says engine computer issues can lead to blown fuses. Well, could your tires soon be airless? It's a possibility, as Michelin and GM are working together to make it happen in their cars by 2024. Now, the technology has been around for more than a decade, but it has yet to be used on cars. Well, if you're a procrastinator when it comes to Halloween, meaning you're planning on dressing up, but you just haven't gotten around to getting your costume just yet, Andy Taylor's showing us some unique costume ideas that just require a quick trip to the store.
Halloween costumes can be expensive, and usually if you wait too long, the good ones are always sold out at the store. So if you're looking for an easy but clever costume, all you need are a few supplies around the house and a quick trip to the store for a basic t-shirt and a prop. And our costume ideas: deviled egg, a breadwinner, a ceiling fan, and pumpkin pie. Next up, a little DIY. Don't be intimidated though, because if I can do this, so can you. All you need: scissors, tape, and a Sharpie. And we're gonna make a blue ribbon around this. Each costume took less than 10 minutes to put together. Now for the reveal. Gold medal means I'm the breadwinner. Pumpkin pie. Yay, go ceiling! Get it? Ceiling fan? deviled egg. Clever, easy, and affordable. What more can you ask for this Halloween? Plus, people will definitely be impressed. I'm Annie Taylor reporting.
All right, Annie, thank you. And next in our lineup here, you probably know that the snacks you get from most vending machines, let's face it, they're not the healthiest options, but believe it or not, that's about to change. The new types of foods that you will see and how you can choose healthier options before this switch happens.